trading process is we need to make sure we get our environment set up correctly from the start. Now, a lot of people when they're learning to code, they bypass this step and it ends up biting them in the arse in the long run. So there's two real key concepts that we need to understand. One is that the programming languages we use, whether it's Java, Python, C++, that itself is a piece of software and that can update. So if you assume that you can just download it once and use it for the rest of your life and not worry about updates, it's just, it's not going to happen, okay? The second concept is that we need to understand that our computers don't know where these programming languages live until we add them to our path. And I'd really encourage anyone and everyone who's just starting out on their journey, really try and understand these concepts. What is the path? How does it mean I can access these, pieces of software? And yeah, you can look into all that in another video, or we can cover it. But for now, just try and drill those concepts into your head, and I'm going to go over them roughly now. If you want to follow along on this, the blog is on johnjoewilbur.com, and you can just see it here, how to install Python with Homebrew and Pyenv. This is going to be just for Mac users, so if you're on Windows, you can pretty much ignore this video, or you can just Google the equivalents as we go. Might be a good little task for you. Anyway, okay, so going back to the first thing. So we need to make sure that when we download Python, if it updates in a year, we can switch between those versions as and when we need to. This is super important because sometimes they're breaking changes and, our script might stop working. And if it does stop working and we don't understand this concept of changing versions of programming languages or version control, we're going to get frustrated and we're going to give up. So you're going to be tempted to skip this step. You really need to focus on it so that you never give up when a breaking change occurs and you feel like giving up. So anyway, rambling on a bit, but let's get to it. So, okay, so the first thing we need to do on a Mac is we need to install Homebrew. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to go to terminal. So I'm just going to press Command Space to get this search up. Go to my terminal and we'll bring it over here. And I'm just going to paste in this script. It's going to ask for my password, and all that's going to do is going to install Homebrew onto here. Okay, so the next step once that's downloaded is we see here, we need to open up our Z shell file, Z shell RC file. If you don't have ZSH up here, it means you're on bash and there's an equivalent file. I think it's like bash RC, so it's a very similar thing, but you just need to Google the difference. And this code here is just going to open it up for me in VS Code. If you don't have VS Code installed, then you're just going to have to CD into this place and open it with a text editor, okay? So hopefully you've got VS Code installed anyway, because we're going to be using that as one of the tools you need. And here I have my file, and effectively, this is the concept I was talking about, path, okay? So you can think of this as like a directory that your computer has, and it can call to find any piece of software or document or whatever it might be that you need it to find. So effectively in this terminal, I can't just start typing do stuff in Python without explicitly saying to the computer, this is where the Python programming language is. This is how it works. I can't just assume that it knows that, right? Because when I install Python, it might be in downloads in a separate folder called Python. Then inside that, there might be something else. So it could be a huge list of directories to actually find it. So we need to add it to our path. And we're doing the exact same thing here with Homebrew. So we just installed Homebrew. We need to open up our Z shell file like this, and then we're going to add this line to it. So if we go over to here, you'll see that I've already done it here. So I'm just going to paste it again just for the sake of it. And then effectively I need to close this, obviously press save, close my terminal window, open up a new one, make sure it's a new one. And now I should be able to say, for example, brew list, and it'll give you a list of everything that you have installed, okay? If that doesn't work, and brew list says, if it doesn't work, it'll say something like ZSH brew not found. Then it means you haven't added it to your path correctly, and you need to just go over these steps a bit more carefully. Okay, once that's done, there's a few dependencies that we need. You can see here. So this is using brew. So I'm doing brew install. That's the command for Homebrew. And we're just going to install this dependency that we need. I already have it installed, so it's going to be super quick. Okay, once we've got that, we can install Pyenv. Okay, we have everything we need. So go back to the terminal, copy this line here. And this is simply how to download Pyenv. It's on their GitHub, it's on everything. Paste that in there. For me, it's going to say, yeah, cannot proceed because I already have that directory. It's because I've already got it installed, but for you guys, that's going to run. Okay, final step, you need to open up that Z shell file one more time, or bash file if you're on bash. And there's 3 lines of code that you need to paste in there, which I'm going to add to this article as well, so that you can just copy and paste it. And it's these 3 here. Okay. You need to close this, go back to your terminal, close your terminal again, open up a new one. And now we should be able to say, for example, pyenv install -- list, and it will give us a list of all the different variations of Python that we can install. Okay, so we have them all here. So we obviously want the latest, so 3.12.0. So for you guys, all you're going to do is you're going to say pyenv install 3.12.0. If you want a different version for whatever reason, you can just change it. So you could say 3.7.0, whatever it might be. But for argument's sake, we'll do 3.12.0. I already have it, so I'm not going to bother reinstalling it. But for you, that will simply install it. Once you've done that, you can simply go pyenv global 3.12.0. and that will set the global version of Python as 3.12. So if I go now here and I do Python -- version, you'll see it's 3.12.0. Now, let's say, for example, I created a project 6 months ago on Python 3.11.0, and I'm worried it might, have some conflicts with 3.12.0. All I have to do is come here and go Python global 3.11.0. This is assuming I've already installed 3.11 with Pyenv. And that should work. And now if I do Python version, it should have changed. So you see, last time I did this, it was 3.12.0, and now 3.11.0. Okay. So that's 2 key concepts. Obviously, we've gone over them super quickly there, but you need to drill those in, understanding the difference between having something stored in your path versus not, and also being able to have version control for your programming languages. So yeah, that's the first thing to get us all set up, and now we're ready to rock and roll.